This conference will now be recorded.
We have got Monster Tree Service in here to do our palm tree pruning program for 2022. Very fortunately, we are super jazzed to have them involved, and we feel very fortunate to have them out here in the resort. It seems like as long as all goes well, this could be a resolution for us moving forward long term. This ultimately they're going to be providing services for residential properties for palm trees, as well as performing pruning for the association's palm trees. Jared is here on site as well. He's going to be talking about a couple things of scheduling and how things will be done from the company standpoint. And he'll also be here after the town meeting to meet with any folks that would like to chat with him, maybe get a couple more signed up as well. We did put their link out on our blasts, and we will continue to do so everyone has that information. We also have some volunteers that have stepped forward to help out, try to contact residents. We're going to be moving forward on that as well so that we can get plenty of information out to the residents. We want to make sure that if anybody has left already, they're going to be notified that this is the program. We want to make sure that we get as many palm trees signed up as possible. So that is the goal there. Of course, the biggest thing for the association was concerning of a liability. In this scenario, it really resolves it, as the company Monster Tree is going to be performing work individually for each individual homeowner. They are going to have a set rate of $65 to prune the palm trees throughout the entire resort. So they are giving us a deal for the entire resort. That was kind of our goal, and we're very lucky to have them here. So I think that is all. I'll introduce you to Jared Macy. He is a representative for Monster Tree Service, and he's going to talk a little bit about their company.
Thank you, guys. So I'm Jared. So the first question, or the question I get asked most, is when is it going to be done? Oh, can you hear me now? Okay, so the first question I always get is when are we going to be doing it? We're going to start, I think it's May 30th. I think that's the Monday, and that's where the hard date where we're starting. We're going to start with the associations. We're going to work the entrance and work the main common areas, and then right after that, we start into the residents. So if the proposal, once it gets sent to your email, you have to accept it. Okay, just because we got sent the proposal doesn't mean you guys are scheduled. So once you guys accept the proposal, it goes into us, and we'll schedule we're going to start in sections. So we'll start section 1, 2, and we're just going to serpentine pretty much through the whole community. If you guys haven't accepted it yet, I'll be here. I can manually do it for you guys, or you can call into the office. That's what the number provided, and we'll do it that way. Yep, click on the link, and I'll send you right to our website. We will do all the managing of the cleanup, the skinning. The skinning will take from the crown from last year. If it's loose, we'll pull that little bit off. We're not going to charge you for it. But if it's extra skinning, like from the base up, we do charge $10 a linear foot. A linear foot's just a fancy name. It's just 1 foot. So it's not trying to like manipulate it. It's just 1 foot. And then from there, you'll get invoiced at the end. We don't take payment first. We don't want your money first. We'll bill you when the job's done. They'll get sent to your email also, and they'll have a portal for you to pay through the email. So if you wanted to mail a check in from wherever you're at in the country, you could do it that way also. They'll give you all the directions on how to do that. So then other than that, skinning is not necessary. It doesn't, the skinning is more of a preference for aesthetics. If you like the way it looks skinned, go for it. It doesn't hurt the tree or make it better or healthy.
So Jared, we'd heard that rats and scorpions and those types of things like to live in that.
Yes,
and so that's
true.
a benefit to have it skinned.
Yes, but they do sit in the crown still. So for the health of the palm, you don't skin it all the way to the top. You want to leave maybe 2 feet to the top, maybe a foot. But it does, you can't get away from nests from the birds, and scorpions hide everywhere. But they do sit in the palms. Yes, they do. We encounter it all the time when we trim them. They run out, chase after us. But we're gonna have a boom truck. So the mess wise is gonna be pretty minimal, because as we prune, we're gonna put it in our bucket, bring it to the street, and we'll drop it in the street. We're not gonna let fronds and the debris just fly everywhere, breaking everything like in the past. If that was a concern, hopefully that will minimize it. Any other questions?
Any other questions?
Foundational problems for, not foundationally, no, it doesn't hurt anyway. It's, once again, it's more of just if you like it skinned, it's a preference of person, not the palm. It's a grass anyways, so it's not really a tree. So it's pretty hard to hurt it.
Jared, I'm Sharon at 602.
Okay.
Are there any resorts around here that you've done that we could look at?
Okay, one is called Venture Out. Venture Out's in Mesa.
Mesa.
It's 2,500 palms. I was on the team and we've done that in a month. It took us a month to do 2,500 palms. This is a lot less. I guarantee all your palms will be done by July 1st. Every single palm, home and HOA will be done by July 1st.
That's good. And that's the timeline that it's critical for that growth that we're
Yeah,
trying to
so the
minimize.
reason why the timeline is there for is, so the fan palms put out 2 rows of flowers and fruit. Most of those are going to be out by mid-June. The date palms, the most optimal time is end of May, beginning of June, because the fruit and stalk will be all the way out and the berries and the fruit will be minimal. So for cleanup for us, it's faster for us and it's easier to clean up for you guys. So it's going to be a lot better for everybody.
Any other questions? So for those of you that have palm trees on your property,
Or regular trees. We do regular trees. I'm a tree doctor, so I can talk about any tree you guys want. Doesn't matter.
pick up this form here because there is a website that you can go to so you can actually sign up for it.
Mhm.
And as he said, when it's all said and done, that you actually can go pay for it also, so you don't have to write them a check.
Yeah, no need
So
to
what the
prepay.
difference then is that this year you don't have to pay for it until after it's done versus the previous person, you had to pay in advance and then sometimes it wasn't done and little fisticuffs occurred.
Yeah, no, we take all the risks. So if there happens to be damage, come to us. You don't need, we take full responsibility of anything that happens. We're not
Right.
going to like shove it off to them or you guys. It's on us. If we broke it, we take care of it.
Okay, so you'll be here for
Yep.
the rest of the meeting and
I'll be
having
over there.
people sign up. And Mike, you've already posted this online, haven't you? But we'll send out another blast for it.
Yeah, and I'll be on
Okay.
property after here too, because I got to meet with like a few residents anyways.
Okay.
So if you want me to stop by your place later after this, it's no problem for me. And I live right down the street too. So if anytime
Oh.
someone needs me for anything, I can just jump up. I literally live like 2 blocks down the street.
Very
So-
good. You're not old enough to live here yet.
Well,
but
I know.
You can buy, but you can't live here
I
yet.
can't live yet?
You have to be 55.
Oh, I got like, man, 14, 15 more years.
Yeah, you do. Might want to buy now. The
That's-
prices are going up.
That's true. That's a good investment probably.
Marilyn.
A lot of people are cutting down their palm trees. What do you charge to take a tree down so that we don't have this $65 recurring?
It just based upon how tall it is. So yeah, it just depends on the height because of inflation and everything's going up. Even our dump fees, they used to be like super cheap, are now it's like $65 to $70 a ton to unload now, which is huge. In palm seed, I can get rid of normal chips and mulch, and that's no problem. But the palm is considered trash, so it's harder to get rid of. So it's everything's gone up. So yeah, we go by foot. So I just base it upon how long it'll take our guys to do it, and then go from there. It's not going to be, as long as you don't have like a big giant 60-foot palm, it's not going to be probably more than $700. That's with the stump grinding included. I know that's a big number, but that's like, I'm talking like a 60-foot palm. So most of them, I think I've charged like 400, 450, sometimes 5. It just depends on how much trash is involved. That's all.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And thank you, Mike, and Jill too, for coming up with this good solution. We'll want to point out that most of us in this room, probably our health insurance would not cover us if we fall trying to take it down ourselves. I'm not sure, not an expert in that. So I understand Cindy and Becky, you guys wanted to say something? Yes, now I heard you wanted this to music. Should we cue that up? Yeah.
Good God, back up. It's not good. We just wanted to say thank you, thank you, thank you very much for an absolutely outstanding 8 weeks at the Chuck Wagon.
I'm going to be the one that talks. How many ate in the Chuck Wagon this year? And how many of you volunteered in the Chuck Wagon this year? And how many of you will volunteer at least 3 hours every other week next year? 3 hours. Well, we'd like you every week, but we'll take you every other week if that's what you can do. I think if we went around to the people that actually volunteer in there and asked what they did, they would just say, we have fun. We work hard and we have a lot of fun. And we're gearing up for next year. We'll be opening October 31st, sorry. And we'll start out with breakfast and some dinners. And then in January, add lunch. So we're going to need a lot of volunteers. If we don't have volunteers, then it's not going to work. So we have a couple of our board members who come in faithfully every single week. We have Jim, who has been on the board for 100 years, comes in every week and cracks like 10 or 12 dozen eggs. So we have all kinds of jobs for you. The Liars Club, the Circle of Truth, every morning sets up the whole dining room. So the volunteers are wonderful, and I can't thank you enough for being good volunteers.
Thank you very much. It really is a lot of fun. Oh, she's not done.
I forgot, there's a table out by the ice cream area that has a lot of pieces of white paper. And on those pieces of white paper, it tells you what jobs need to be done for us to close. So they probably will take anywhere from 15 minutes to an hour to do those jobs. So if you sign your name off, then I will call you and tell you we're going to be cleaning Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Unless we get things done Tuesday and Wednesday, then we won't do Thursday. But we did this in the fall. Our people, in the spring, our people, the volunteers have kept it so clean this year that it's going to be a breeze to clean. So, and I thank you all for that.
Great. She says she's done. We're going to hold her to it. Thank you. Yes. Marty. Marty, you have to have the microphone because I know you need to project.
I would just like to, on behalf of the volunteers and probably everybody in this park, thank Becky and Cindy. They put in untold hours.
They really have. They really have. Good food. Good food, decent price. Okay. So Jill asked me to update you on a couple of things. You know, one of the things that we've been working on, we've had it in the budget for a while and is finally starting to see some improvement, is that improving the telecommunication system. Merit has been upgrading our systems with the intent that we wouldn't really need to be married to Cox much longer. So what she's told me is that NC1 and NC2 have already been converted. So from a Wi-Fi perspective, you should be getting better service in there and not be dropping off. So that's good. More things will be coming. The other thing is that now as parts of the roof are complete and Merit has been here, the antennas on top of the roof have been straightened. So we should get even better coverage, even to the guard gate. But for those of you that are putting excess trash in the dumpsters, now we can see you there. So we'll be getting a better picture of who might be abusing that. So caution on that. One, just as an FYI, we've had a company called Zona Wire, thank you, who is interested in putting fiber optics in the resort, and that should really be a better way of providing internet service for us. For those, you don't really care, but where I live in Kingston, Washington, out in the country, I don't have good cell service, so you'd have to call my landline. I don't know how many of you still have landlines, but I do. But $10,000 it cost me to have fiber optic put in my place, and now I can at least get good cell service. Zona Wire is looking to bring fiber optics into us at no cost, and should be a potential of decreasing our costs for our internet service. They anticipate by about, well, let's say less. I don't want to commit to a dollar amount since they've not really come out with a proposal. They're working in Sun City Grand right now. So we keep you posted on that. We do think sounds like a very good benefit for our residents. Mike Perry, do you want to give an update on the heater or not? The pool heater story is AOL. Okay. Oh, okay, well, we heard a rumor that it was actually within Maricopa County. Can you confirm that rumor? Darn. Okay, well, that's not good news. Oh, right. But the other thing that is going to impact the installation, I understand, is actually getting a crane to bring it from wherever it would be in Maricopa County and lift it up to where we need it. Is that a true rumor?
Well, everything hinges on this heater being on site. I can't schedule a crane. We can't schedule the people that are going to put the vent piping in, can't schedule a plumber to even unhook the other one until we know where this heater is and it's going to be on site. There's no way to schedule it until we actually have this thing in our possession. So we've made every contact with the company that's providing the services. We can't get it from the manufacturer. They won't give us an ETA when they're going to release that heater. We just keep getting the same. So, well, it's going to be a couple weeks. It'll be a couple weeks. Well, that's all come and gone. So dispel any rumors. I don't know where the heater's at.
Okay, I thought we'd have some good news. Okay, now we have to. Well, the good news is we got the truth here, and that's what we just need to make sure it continues to get put out there, and not the folks on Facebook making up stories. So the truth is, we know that it's finished, we just don't know where it is. And once we become aware of where it is, then we need to schedule a crane in order to actually bring it into the spot that it needs to be in. And I understand there's some work that still needs to be done in the area behind the billiards room, but that can be done prior to them getting it on site. Am I correct in that? Okay. So where it's going, Mike Perry has really figured out that is the best spot for it so that we can have better ongoing maintenance of it in the future. Paving projects, as you know, we've got paving resurfacing going in a couple of areas and sealant going into the areas that were repaved last year. They're going to be starting here towards the end of May. More information will be coming out to all of the residents about the timing of that, particularly if you are still here during the summer and need to move your car in any spot. I think that's it from what Jill wanted me to remind you of. One of the things that I wanted to bring up was, as you know, and we do have an honored guest here, Karen Bland. Would you stand up, please? Yeah. Karen Bland is a former board member. A couple of times she got rooked into that position, but one of the claims to fame that she did for us this last time she sat on the board before she moved was that really implemented our had all the changes made to the CCNRs of which you improved. One of those was getting the one-time exemption to the asset improvement fee for people who lived here, who owned at the time that it was originally passed, which was February 27th of 2019. Part of that amendment to give you a one-time exemption was that 90 days after your purchase of a new place, you needed to alert the office in order to get that exemption. We sent out letters to all the people who fell into that criteria from previous. There were around 55. We've received about at least 35 to 40, and we reimbursed between 35 and 40 residents of that. Dawn, the accountant, will be reaching out to those, say, 15 people who have not responded to remind them that they have a deadline that is closely approaching, that they need to let us know that they want that reimbursement. And if they don't do that within the deadline, we want it all completed by the end of our fiscal year, which is the end of this month. So for those of you who think you qualify for that one-time exemption and haven't asked for it yet, please contact Dawn in accounting. For those people that we know that truly qualify for it, who have not asked for it yet, we'll be sending out another notice. Okay. And for those of you who are seasonal and planning on leaving at the end of the season, please make sure you fill out the departure form so that we know your current address. Mike and his staff, Jackie, still go through the resort during the summer that may find some violations. that you need to take some action on. And if they're not sending it to the correct address, those fines will continue to accumulate. And you might come back here to a pretty hefty fine that you were unaware and didn't have the opportunity to fix. So please make sure that we have your correct address. Did you want to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to add as well that any violations that are sent out, they are mailed by U.S. mail to resident property as well as emailed. If you do see an email with a violation, it comes from Caliber Support. I have found out that that email looks a little strange and can look a little like spam. So if it is coming from Caliber Support and has Happy Trails Community Association attached to Caliber Support, that is the software that we use to enter any notices for Happy Trails. So that's where the notice will be coming from via email. You'll also receive it via U.S. mail per state statute. So that we've implemented that to try to really help out with some of the issues we had last summer of notifying residents, and we will also improve our communication verbally over the phone if we're not getting response from a non-compliance like excessive weeds, things like that. So that's what we'll be focusing on this summer and really trying to improve that communication with everyone.
That's a good point about the Caliber Support. I hadn't thought of that. I guess I've been lucky enough not to have a violation quite yet, so that's good. So the key though to prevent the actual fine is once they get the letter or the notice, they just need to call you and let you know what their actions are going to be.
Correct. Yeah, we're looking for communication. We'll be very reasonable in scenarios where you might not get a vendor out to do your weed control or to maintain your bushes. It seems to be very, very difficult these days to find someone to do this work. So we understand that it may be scheduled and it may not be something that's done within 14 days per se. A lot of this stuff can be, but we'll work with you. And we do have lists of caretakers and vendors that we're happy to provide you and folks that are willing to help out other residents to do this kind of work. We'll tone down some of the major, issues. So we're not having unrealistic expectations to, completely do a full renovation on the exterior of a property during the summer months. We can communicate with residents regarding those issues, but we'll make plans to, we understand everybody's returning back in October, November, and things like that. So we can make notes on the file so that we know what to do and we know what's going on, what communication we've had with the residents. So absolutely call us. Don't hesitate to call or email. We're here to chat with you. Absolutely.
And if you make that conversation, the fine will not be implemented. So that's a key way to minimize your potential of getting a fine, is just communication. Okay, the last thing I wanted to mention was in the we're listening sessions that we have, one of the things that comes up pretty frequently, other than trash and lots of other stuff, is the safety of the resort. And we monitor the community crime map that's out there, that is any crime that's been reported to the police and a report's been filed, and we can get that broken down to just actually our address, 17200 West Bell. And remember, we had Officer Tovar out here who talked to people about the importance of locking up your stuff, and that is the best way to prevent crime. As I look at the map, in October, there were 5 instances in Happy Trails. November, there were 2. December, there were 6. January, there were 3. And as of a couple of days ago, both in February and March, there were absolutely 0 crimes that were reported. So just reminder to everybody, lock your stuff up. If there is something that you feel has been stolen or broken into or anything like that, please do call the police. That's not something that we as Happy Trails we don't have the ability to take anybody down or put a gun to their head or anything like that. Only the police can. So report it, and then we'll keep track of the community crime thing. So that's all I wanted to say. What kind of questions do you have for us?
I just never got to do this. This is Marilyn Sorensen, lot 14. There was a lady the other day that had a package delivered by a UPS driver. Two young men she's on the golf course. They came up, grabbed the package off her porch and ran into the golf course. She did not report it, which happens a lot of times. But if you see a truck pulling into your neighborhood, just kind of keep an eye, make sure that you see them put the package down and not someone walking right behind it trying to pick up those packages. It might be a way we can help our neighbors.
Thank you. Along that line, is Pat McCormick here? Okay. But not home yet. Is she? She had higher priorities. My goodness. What could be higher than this? Anyway, Pat and Jill both looked into a lockbox I'll use. That's not the term. Is it for Amazon? The Amazon. Yeah. And that has them in different spots. And they looked into the feasibility of having something like that here, where when you ordered your package, you could say that you wanted it delivered to this specific lockbox. And they spoke to the Amazon people, and Amazon said, you don't qualify as that. So we have looked at that possibility instead of delivering to your house, delivering to that. Now, some people do use places like Kohl's or. Yeah. So as she said, there are lock boxes available within our community, within our neighborhoods, let's put it that way, that people could use. But we have looked into it for Jill and Pat have looked into it for Happy Trails, and we don't qualify. What other kind of questions do you have? Sir, could you come to the microphone, please? I don't think people know you. It's part of a physical therapy program we have here for our residents.
Hey, I'll take you down.
I bet you could.
Just a question, as a former board member and a resident, where do we stand on our contract, which I know is coming up for consideration of renewal with Homeco?
For the Homeco contract, we'll be talking about that at the board meeting next week. The recommendation is that in the current, we haven't had the time to do a full appraisal of it. And in the current contract, it has the ability to have a 1-year renewal, automatic renewal. I've spoken to Homeco about that, and that's the way they'd like to proceed right now. Okay. Any other questions? We'll do a full evaluation this next season, and hopefully get a 3-year renewal with somebody, hopefully Homeco. Any other questions? Are we really done within a half an hour?
That might be a record.
Okay, so I just remind people about if you have a palm tree that needs, that should be trimmed this year, we've got this monster tree service. Oh, now we've got another board member that wants to come up here.
I just wanted to say we've had tremendous response from residents about hearing about solar power tomorrow. We've moved it to NC1 at 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. I just checked down there and there's about 75 seats, but I would estimate that we've had at least that many people express interest in being there. So we're going to have a pretty full house. I'm going to add some chairs. The company is Infinite Power. There's 4 people coming over. They did a short presentation to the board over in Apache Junction a month ago. And it's just information about the steps of going through the process of evaluating whether you would have a significant cost saving by going to solar power. And then, of course, you have buy or rent options with that. And there's going to be another seminar on Monday, not sponsored by me or encouraged by me, but I'm going to attend that. And that's going to be about what you ought to know before you make any contract with a solar company. So that's important too, because we have people that have gotten into contracts that weren't transferable, and then they had to buy out the contract in order to be able to sell their house and leave the equipment on the house. So it's all about being a smart consumer and knowing what you're getting into. But 1 o'clock at NC1 tomorrow, Infinite Power, 4 people are coming over
Excellent.
to talk to us about it.
That's good information. And Steve Deal told us that, particularly those on the east side that have their coverage through Salt River Project, electricity through Salt River Project versus we are through APS. Salt River Project doesn't provide as good of incentive as APS does, and that there's still some advantages to those of us on this side to get it, and that it's worthwhile. I do just see in the chat that Pat McCormick is online anyway, and that she said that she thinks it was Lily who looked into it. So yes, Lily from the mail service had looked into it, Jill. I am corrected in that. Since now that brings up Lily, again, for the seasonal residents, or those of you who are permanent residents who are saying going north or going elsewhere for the summer, we do have the ability to have your mail redirected. Cannot use the term forwarded, but redirected. Please go to the our Neighbor Network website, find the mail center, and then you can scroll down and find out how to do that. Lily has done up a really nice job of actually getting it easy for you to do just via the website. Any other questions, comments? What time is the Monday meeting? Do you know off top? No. We'll make sure that it gets in a blast. Mike. Mike does the blast. I just promised that Mike will do that. Okay. Remember, we've got a board meeting next Thursday. Hope to see you all there. With that, we'll call it a day. Thank you very much. Sign up for cleaning the chuck wagon.